Hey, today we're going to be doing a Pilates mat class using light weights. I'm using 2-pound balls, but if you don't have them, feel free to use soup cans or whatever is appropriate for you. Nothing over 5 pounds. Go ahead and place the balls or the weights out of your way because we're going to start standing today. Nice and hip distance apart, pelvic aligned, nice and neutral without locking our knees, relaxing our shoulders down away from our ears. Place your hands on your ribs, thumbs towards the back of your ribs, fingertips towards the front. Inhaling through your nose and exhale through your mouth. You should find that nice 3-dimensional breath breathing into your posterior ribs and lungs. Relax the hands down by your side and roll the shoulders. Reach the hands forward, bending the knees, hinging at the hips, contracting the abs, retracting the shoulders and protracting. So reach those shoulders forward and then pull them back. Reach them forward and pull them back. Really warming up that shoulder girdle. Extending all the way up. Circle your arms down by your sides. Again, reaching forward. Lifting one heel and lower it down. And 2. Try not to drop your heels, but really press down into the floor, like you're pressing through something with high viscosity. You can reach your hands up by your ears or place your hands on your hips. Either way. The whole time we are using our abdominals to really control and support the spine and back. Reach the hands down by your sides and start to lift the body. Now, you're going to nod the chin to the chest and roll down. You can use your hands to support your legs. If you have any back issues where rolling down is not appropriate for you, come down with a nice flat spine, coming to all fours, floating those knees off the ground. You can always place the knees on the floor or come down onto your elbows if that is too much on your wrists. You can also keep the weight more over your heels so that there's not as much weight on your hands. Otherwise, keep on floating those knees up and then exhale, extend right back out. Bend those knees, walk back, roll or extend the spine all the way back up and standing. And reach those arms up. Inhale, exhale. You can roll down, supporting your hands on your thighs or using them up by your ears. You're going to go ahead and place down and walk or hinge back and out. You can always bend your knees, float the knees down, hover right back up, and roll or hinge back and forward. Right back down to float your knees. And hold it, really pushing through those shoulders, connecting through your spine, and pressing back. It should feel like a nice connection all the way through the body. You can float the knees down if you need to at any point. Exhale, extend, and roll or hinge all the way back and up, nice and tall. Reaching those hands down by your side. You're going to turn around. And we're just going to find that same connection, nice strong squat, holding those ribs, keeping the body nice and connected as we keep the connection, no tension in the neck, nice and soft. You can always place your hands on your knees and you're going to make your way down to sitting. You can always use your hands also like against a chair if you were in that position. I'm drawing the flesh out from underneath my sit bones so I can really feel those abs, drawing my sit bones together as I start to find my imprint. I'm not pushing with my hamstrings. I'm really using the core muscles to find that mobility. Exhale. Now, if this is too much on your low back, you can always hinge back using your arms to support you so your spine stays more in a neutral position than a really flexed position in the low back. It can be a lot on L5, S1 if you are finding a lot of tension or any kind of discomfort in the low back. I like to exhale round, really warming up those muscles. I'm going to float my hands up to shoulder height and then pulse it back. 2, 3. And if you don't want to do the pulse, you can just hold and float the arms up and down without creating any of that extra moment. You can also rotate your knees open if you're getting a lot of gripping in your hips. You're going to take those arms up and down, hold at the apex, come back to parallel if you are laterally rotated, and round or hinge all the way back and up. Go ahead and grab those weights as we again exhale. Find the position of your spine that is comfortable. We're going to head into some nice bicep curls, keeping those shoulders nice and stable, really grounding into the floor with my big toes so that my knees don't fall open. I should feel an engagement in my inner thighs as I exhale, bicep curl, drawing those shoulders away from my ears. Pulse those shoulders up as I still keep those shoulders really dropped down. So I'm really finding that connection into the subscapularis. Exhale. Open to the sides. As I open my arms out to the side, I'll feel the amount of ab work intensify, so only take this as deep as you and as wide as you'd like. You can alternate lifting your toes. Try not to kick the leg, but really lift from the femur or the large leg bone as you alternate sides. And just take this as you need it. At any point, you can always sit upright. There's no need to stay in the flexed position if this is bothering your back. Go ahead and lengthen right back and up and release. Now I'm lifting my toes up so that I don't push in and engage my hamstrings, but you do not need to do this. Turn your palms forward as we find those nice rotator cuffs. Exhaling on the way down, inhaling on the way up. Still really working our abdominal muscles to keep everything really supported. Reach those arms forward, rounding the spine, and lengthen all the way up. This should feel like a lot of ab work. Rolling back again, finding that connection. You're going to lift one leg up and the other leg up. Now at any point you can place your fingers out to the side, or you can use your hands on your legs to give it a little bit of assistance, keeping your spine in whatever position is comfortable for you. You can lift opposite arm as leg if you want to have a little bit more oblique work, or lift both at the same time. But take this as you need it. You should feel an intensity in the abdominal work right now. Alternating sides. Exhale up, inhale down. Hold and round forward, stacking that spine up nice and tall. You can go ahead and you're going to shift a little bit further forward and round and roll down onto your back. Now, if this is not comfortable, find any way that feels good to you to make your way all the way down to a neutral spine. So nice curve through each part of the back. My feet are hip distance apart as I scoop the tailbone under, lifting my hands up and roll right back down. And again, strong core. I'm really keeping the connection between the hips and only coming to a flat position, not arching my back, but using those hamstrings, using those abdominals to really support my spine. As I just find that nice roll and hinge all the way up and all the way down. Nice and strong. Now, if articulation is not what you're looking for, you're going to really hinge at the hip instead of rolling. As we find that nice pulse, hinging at the hip joint, knees together, not touching, but just activated. More weight in the inner thighs. So you should feel a nice strong connection in the inner thighs. Exhale, pulse. Hands down, hands up. Shoulders staying down. Try not to crunch the neck, but keep it nice and long. Finding that nice shoulder connection the whole way. And shh. Exhale, shh. Nice and strong and connected. Tuck that tailbone under. Stay strong through the core muscles. Go ahead and roll or hinge all the way back and down. Nice inhale. Exhale. Find your way back up. Float the hands down by the shoulders. And 2. Exhale. I meant bound by the hips. And then reach them to the sides. Exhale. I'm really still trying to keep my torso really supported. I'm not trying to have any arch. I want to be nice and flat like a table. Float those hands right back up and down. And again, you're going to just roll or hinge those hips right back and up. You should feel a lot of hamstring work. You're going to float your hands down by your hips and then to the floor, keeping those hips nice and still so there's no shifting from side to side. Go ahead and you can keep the hands on the floor, or you can keep them down by your sides as you lift one leg at a time, keeping the pelvis nice and still. Now, if this is outside of your wheelhouse and it's a little too spicy, just lift the heel one at a time, focusing on that pelvic stability. Or just you can float the whole leg up, really starting to focus on that back of the leg strength and using the core muscles to keep the hips nice and strong. So there's no wiggle woggling or salsa dancing in the hips. Try to keep the hips from going to the floor. Try to keep them nice and high. They'll sag just a little bit sometimes, but try to avoid it by really connecting into those abdominals. Tucking that tailbone under, extend the leg, and flex to point and lower to lift. And exhale, flex to lower, point to lift. Now, if this is too much, you can always bring your hands down, or you can pulse the heel up and down if you do not feel comfortable lifting the leg off the floor and extending it towards the ceiling. Otherwise, we're just going to float down, tuck that tailbone under, make sure the pelvis is nice and square, float the other leg up and extend it. Flex to lower, point to lift. Exhale, inhale. Again, you can always pulse the heel instead of finding that full range of motion in the leg. I love this exercise. I get such an intense hamstring workout. Go ahead and tuck the tailbone under, roll or hinge all the way back and down. Walk your feet a little bit further away from you. Still keep the neck nice and long. Try not to lift the chin when you do craniovertebral knot. So it's like you have an egg between the heart of the collarbone and the tip of the chin. Folding up from the rib cage. So it's a real movement from here, not a lifting of the head. Really feel that fold from the ribs. The head's just along for the ride. The head is 10 to 15 pounds on average, so you can use that weight to really help target the upper abs. You can place the hands behind the neck or just reach them down by your side, but let's all bring them behind our necks just to keep that nice and supported. We're going to hold this, keeping that nice strong connection, really grounding into our abdominals, finding that strong, strong core work. And gently pulse it up. And exhale, 2. Again, really folding from those ribs. 3, exhale. And if you feel like you're really pushing with your heels, again, at any point, you can always lift those heels off the ground. And just keep the pinky toes and the big toes of the toes on the floor. Hold, reach the hands out, pulse it up. 2, you can always leave the hands behind your neck, but it should be a lot of abs. Exhale, exhale. Sweep those hands back if you're feeling neck tension and lengthen back and down. We're going to keep that nice connection here. Hold. You're going to lift one leg up. Now, you don't have to. You can always just lift the heel, but you don't have to lift the whole leg. But if you do, try to lift the whole leg from the femur and not just kicking the knee up. So it's nice and stable as you pulse it up. Exhale, 2. And exhale, 4. Rotate for 4, or just hold it. 3, 2, and 1. Stay nice and strong. Pulse it. 4, 3. From the ribs. 2. Long neck, 1. Hold it nice and strong. Hold it, and rotate. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. Float that leg down and right away to the other side. Moving from those ribs. Pulse it. 4. Exhale. Long neck. 3, 2, and 1. Hold it still or rotate for 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Pulse it up. 4. Long neck. 3, 2. Exhale. Feel that burn. 1, and rotate for 4. I'm getting a little warm, I can tell. 3, 2. Last time. Keep it strong. Back to center. Hold and float that leg right back and down. Woo. Extending the legs out nice and long. You're going to roll up. If this is too much, roll to your side to come up, but take this as you need it. This is your time. Go ahead and come all the way up to sitting, however is comfortable for you. We're going to reach our hands down by our sides, tucking the tailbone under. We're going to have our knees open like a little diamond, and we're going to keep our arms out in front of us. We're going to grab those weights, tuck the tailbone under, either hinge, not very far, or really roll back. You can always use your hands on your legs. You just don't want those hip flexors to get involved. Keeping that nice connection, core stable. You're going to lift one leg from the inner thigh. Really focusing on those inner thigh muscles. 2. Exhale. 3. You can always keep your hands on your knees. And 4. Exhale. Really stay strong. You can always keep this as you need it. You can use the balls on to come up to add a little bit more upper abdominal work, or you can just keep them where they are. Or you can alternate. Exhale. Alternating arm and leg. You can open those arms just a little bit, extend, really use that inner thigh. You're going to flex that leg, turning it out, and you're going to bring it down, point the toe to lift, really working the inner thigh. 2, you can always keep your hands on the floor, reaching to your side, or even coming to your elbows, as long as you don't sag in your shoulders. Find whatever works for you, and hold, really lengthening, reaching through those legs, and bend the knee in, floating it back and down. Right away, other side. Extend the leg. Again, it's really rotated, so I can see my heel the whole time. Exhale, lift. And so you should feel the legs really working as well as your core muscles. Again, you can take your hands wherever is needed. You can keep them forward, down, out, kind of out further behind you, or again, down onto the elbows. Really focusing on finding the range of motion in that leg. Come to that bent knee and float it down. Reach your arms forward, round or hinge all the way back and up, palms to the ceiling. Roll back, keeping that nice connection, and we're going to open one arm to the side and back and in, working on that nice stability. Now, if rotation is something that you want to work on, you can add that twist. As you exhale, open to the side. Strong connection into your core the entire time. Hold, scoop those abs, both arms, circle for 1, 2, exhale 3, working those rotator cuffs. You can always come to sitting upright at any point, especially if your low back is triggering, and just crisscross your legs. Reverse your circles, 2, 3, long neck, 4, keep those abs working, 5, draw the abs in, tightening that transverse, those deep abdominals. Reach the arms forward, stack it up, however is best for you. This should feel like a fairly intense ab exercise. You're going to come on over to all fours, nice and strong. You can come down onto your elbows if this is too much on your wrists at any point. Otherwise, you're going to keep that nice connection. You're going to grab your balls. If you don't have a ball, you can always take a towel and just roll it up and place it in the same place I'm placing this ball. Especially if you don't have a round weight, a nice little rolled up towel is perfect. You're going to keep those hips nice and square, squeezing that heel towards your bum like you have an invisible teacup on your pelvis. Tuck the tailbone under as you extend the leg up. Now I'm trying not to let my back arch too, so my leg won't really move past a nice 45-degree angle or 180. So I'm really squeezing, tucking that tailbone under, trying not to lock my elbows, but keep that nice connection all the way through the arms into the shoulders and upper back. You're going to hold, and we're going to squeeze the heel to the bum. 2, little hamstring work. 3, 4, exhale, flex that foot, and again, squeeze it in. 2, 3, keep it nice and strong. And hold, point that toe, bring that knee down. You're going to lift it to the side. Now your hips will unsquare. You can find that nice strong core to still keep the pelvis really supported. If this is too much on your wrist, you can come down to one elbow. It'll also give you a little bit more range of motion. If you have any pelvic issues, don't lift the leg quite so high. You're going to exhale on the way up. Hold it, and release it down. Nice and stable. Go ahead and release that nice little ball, and we're going to switch to the other sides. Extend the leg to place the ball or the cushion underneath. You get a better grip on it. Again, pelvis is nice and square. Transverse, which are those deep abdominals that start at the spine and wrap all the way around to the front of the core, are really engaged, drawing inwards to support that back. As you exhale, lift up. Squeezing that ball the whole time. Feeling that nice strong connection. Try not to lock those elbows, but keep them nice and soft. So you're strong in through the muscles and not resting in your joints. And you're going to keep that nice square pelvis, and you're going to hold, pulsing the heel towards the bum. Squeeze 2, nice and strong. 3, 4, strong core. 5, exhale. Hold, flex that foot, and again. Woo! Keep that nice connection. Don't let anything move. Keep it nice and strong. The pelvis is still as we pull it in. Exhale. Nice. Keeping it nice and strong. Point those toes. Bring that knee back and down. And we're going to lift to the side. Kind of like a dog peeing on a hydrant, if that's a little bit crass. Sorry about it. You can always come down onto your elbows. It's just a good image for a lot of people to find that lift. So it's a lift straight to the side. You can always come down onto your elbow at any point if this is too much. So it's opposite arm as leg that is lifting. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Feel that strong connection into those glutes and bring it on down and get rid of it. I can definitely feel my glutes working at that point. Whew, it's a lot of leg work. Alrighty-roo. You can place a ball or a yoga block between your knees or a towel, especially if you've got any inner thigh issue. I mean, it will cue the inner thighs. If you have any knee issues, it will protect the patella. We're going to head into some nice tricep stretches. And 2, keeping the tension out of the neck. 3, 4, pressing it back. 5, soft elbows, strong core. And again, bend the elbows and extend. Feeling that nice opening through the collarbones still. So you're not pinching the shoulders back, but you're really widening through the collarbones. Finding that nice tricep extension, keeping the neck nice and loose so that you're trying to create no tension. One nice thing is to relax your jaw. We're going to open on the 45-degree angle. This time the balls are in towards your thighs. Feeling that nice connection into the backs of the arms. I feel like the backs of the arms always need a little bit of work. Nobody ever goes around saying, you know what I really like? The backs of my arms. Opening to the sides. Now you're going to feel that nice connection, and you're going to really use those abs and not swing the arms. So there's a little bit of a pause at the apex of this movement. Exhale. Stay strong. Stay squatted in those legs. Everything should feel warm. And recover back and up. You should definitely feel a little bit of a leg workout there. Go ahead and place those balls a little bit forward so they're a little bit out of your way, and you're going to come down onto your elbows. Elbows are making an L, and you're not going to bring your fingers together. You can place your hands onto the balls if you'd like, but you can also just rest them gently on the floor. You're going to have that nice connection, feet nice and wide, and we're going to bring them out, in, out, in. So we're really working. Now, if that's too much, you can always bend one knee and then bend the other. And then it's a left again, and then back to the right. So you're still really focusing on keeping the stability through the spine, even as you work the obliques, as you go out, in. This is a pretty full body little exercise. I love this one. Try to keep those shoulders really engaged and round back, taking a shell stretch, rounding through the spine. Nice active stretch through the low back. Go ahead and make your way all the way back and up. We're going to swizzle around to the other way. Your feet are hip distance apart, and you're going to lift those hips up into a nice reverse bridge, pressing down to the floor. Now, I'm finding a lot of spine articulation in this, but you do not have to. You can always just lift. Now, you do want to keep your knees nice and parallel. See how there's a little bit more weight on my big toes and on my pinky toes? It's to help cue the inner thighs and make sure I'm working the legs evenly, especially because we did all that glute work a minute ago. They might feel a little bit more anxious to get involved. Try not to hyperextend your elbows. I look like I have my elbows a little hyperextended, but unfortunately they actually go way more locked than that. Try also not to drop your head back. Try to keep it nice and long. Now, you can always do this down on your elbows if your wrists are feeling tired. You're just going to lift up to there and right back and down. You'll get a lot of shoulder work still, but you won't have that pressure on your wrists. It's a really nice modification. Exhale. Lifting up, really finding the strength through the back of the body. Strong abs at the apex. Well, probably strong abs the whole time. It's Pilates after all. We're going to hold it, staying strong through the whole body, really lifting those hips, tucking the tailbone under, and right back and down. We're going to extend our legs out, feeling that nice long body. I'm going to go ahead and move these out of the way. You're going to have your arms again reaching behind you. You're going to tuck the tailbone under and lift the whole body up. Again, you can do this with a little bit of a longer reach, really trying to reach the body up nice and tall. You can scooch forward and you can take it here so it's still in the elbows, but there's a longer connection between the hips and the ankles. You'll get a little bit more core work this way, but you can also do the full where you're really lifting up and right back and down. Really opening up that chest and back, really tucking under, lifting up. You can find I'm really trying to find that articulation in my back, but if finding that pelvic articulation is kind of not what you're going for, you can always just hinge and lift straight up, working your spine a little bit more neutral at its whole time. Right back and up. Exhale. Really finding that connection as we hold it, squeezing those legs together, activating the whole body. 2, and squeeze and release it back and down. Whoo! You should feel a lot of work in the whole body. Reach those arms forward and roll behind the sit bones. You can keep that nice connection, keeping the legs straight, turning the legs out, heels together, toes apart, and lift one leg up and right back down. And 2. And again, you can do this just like we did earlier with your knees bent, and then coming to extension and right back down. So you're really, again, working that length through the leg, that active flexibility. You can also bring your fingertips to the floor or come back down onto your elbows. The goal is to really work the whole body. You can float the arms up if you want a little bit more ab work. Exhale. You're going to find a little bit more range of motion with the arms up, but you're really trying to find that nice connection into the abs. You can find it as any way you want. We're going to extend both legs up into that nice V. Now, we can keep our knees bent and hands just behind our knees, or just extend one leg and then the other leg. kind of finding whatever works for you. You can also keep just lifting the legs and lowering. Try to lift them and lower. Exhale. You can also use the arms to extend to, again, trigger those abs, but you should feel a lot of work in the inner thighs because, again, it's heels together, toes apart. We're getting ready for our fun next exercise, really queuing everything up and release it nice and tall. Whew. Extend those legs out. Again, nice and strong. We're going to do heels together, toes apart, and we're going to tuck the tailbone under, lifting right back up. You can always keep your knees bent, or you can do this on your elbows, keeping this nice and strong, keeping the abs working, but it's going to be up to you, or you can stay parallel. I like the parallel sometimes for this on my elbows. I feel like I have a little bit more range of motion. We're going to lift one leg at a time, so we're going to be using those same muscles we just did, really lifting from the inner thighs. Exhale. And lift. So we're really focused on trying to keep that strength. You can always have your knees bent and just lift one leg at a time as well. This is quite a challenging little exercise. And right back and down, lengthening the spine up. Reach those arms forward, taking that nice stretch. You're going to scooch a little bit further forward if you want, and you're going to come to a nice figure four. Make sure you're flexing the foot and lengthening the spine as you take that stretch forward. Nice flat back. Try to keep the arms overhead. If this is too much, you can always take your hands down, but you really want to feel the stretch through the hip. If reaching forward is too much, you can always bend your knee and take it here. This is a nice alternative. This is also a nice alternative for any twisting stretches where we lay on our backs and take a nice stretch. It feels pretty much the same for the hip. Go ahead and release forward. You can place a little bit of pressure, but not on the knee, on the thigh, between the femur and the shins. You can kind of press open. Make sure, though, you're flexing that other foot to support your ankle and to support that patella. Go ahead and hug it in and release other side. Same thing. Really keep that foot nice and flexed, no pressure on the knee, and reach forward, lengthening the spine. Really flex that foot so it's nice and strong, protecting that patella or that little floating bone in the knee. Reaching it out nice and long, and release forward. Again, you could have always shifted back and hug that knee into your chest. Take the stretch that is appropriate for you. Make your way right back up. Go ahead and bend those knees back and in. Roll those shoulders, relaxing it, and last time. Oh, feels so good. I hope you have enjoyed this class. I definitely have. Reach those arms back. Let's get a little reverse stretch. I definitely feel like I've gotten a nice full stretch and a full kind of body workout for sure, especially that last exercise. Holy moly. Well done, you all. I hope you've had a good time, and hopefully I will see you again. Bye.